Is there constant tug of war going on in your head, like the shoulder angel and devil often depicted in cartoons? And do you sometimes find yourself making the wrong choices? If so, then this video is for you. Welcome or welcome back, Alex of ONILIFE. In this episode, we'll be looking at the working of the mind through the structured Chimp Management method so that we can better understand a greater and lesser ONIs. Our mind produces every single thought, emotion, and behavior in our lives. Therefore, it becomes essential to have a scientific of an understanding of how our minds work to be given the freedom to design and architect the kind of lives we want to live. Without a good understanding of our mind, we will just be captives to the external influences of our environment, including our primal drives, the trends of the popular media, and other people's opinions. If you're someone who wants more choices in designing and building your life, then carry on watching. In episode 10, we covered Freud's iceberg model of id, ego, and superego, which isn't the actual way the mind works, but is a good first step in identifying different parts of the human mind. In this episode, we'll be delving into Professor Steve Peters' A Path Through the Jungle, which incorporates data collected in scientific research and data collected using MRI scans. The mind has two functions. Firstly, it uses inbuilt drives to keep the body alive and produce the next generation. 2, it perceives, interprets, and interacts with the world around it. Inbuilt drives are natural forces that help us to survive and perpetuate the species. Drive to eat, have sex, quench a thirst, and protect a young are all fixed within us from birth. If we don't fulfill drives, we can begin to feel uncomfortable. The hypothalamus, H for short, contains many centers called nuclei, which promotes fundamental survival drives. Interacting with the world. We can interact with the world by using the instinct or by learning, the two methods. Instincts are inbuilt automatic reactions to given stimuli. For example, fight, flight, or freeze is an instinctive reaction to a threat, and this immediate reaction can help us stay safe. We use this instinct in everyday life all of the time. The inbuilt reaction to seeing a snake is set off an alarm system in our mind from the orbital frontal cortex, OFC, which sends a message to the amygdala, A, along with other structures. When the amygdala has received the message, it sends back advice to the OFC, forming a two-way conversation. The OFC then makes a decision about what to do and relays it out as an emotion. This is called the limbic system. The other way of interacting with the world is through learning a response. This uses a rational-based system, termed the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, DLPFC for short. This system works with executive functioning, for example using logic, organizational skills, and perspective. It acts only after the limbic system has reacted, but it can influence or manage the first system. In order to make this easier, the Chimp Management describes 3 teams operating within the mind. Chimp team, genetically determined, operates with drives, reacts to experiences with instinct, thinks from an emotional basis, interprets with feelings. Its agenda is to perpetuate the species and help us to survive. The second one is the human team, thinks from a factual basis, responds to experiences with rationality, interprets with logic. And then the third team is computer team, which is storing memory, facts, and experiences, performing automatic behaviors. The chimp team begins to develop at just 8 weeks in fetal life. It takes on character traits such as how quickly it will react to stress. For example, some fetuses react if the mother's heart rate goes up, but other fetuses remain calm. Research shows that 6 months into life as an infant, the same traits remain constant for each baby. Some are still reacting to the world while others remain the same. These characteristics remain within our system throughout our lives. Therefore, we have been given our unique chimp system solely through our genetics. Our personality traits are both genetically and environmentally determined, so there are some room to choose how we express ourselves within this world. The chimp often chooses a more pleasurable option and looks to win when possible. The human team represents various areas in the brain, the most important being the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. They start to develop very slowly after the first few years of life and can take as long as 30 years to become fully matured and fully functional. It can bring rational judgment and perspective to our thinking. The human often chooses the healthy option and looks for a solution. The computer team only stores information and memories, but it can also be programmed to carry out automatic behaviors and automatic thinking. This is why it's useful to create positive habits in your life, such as the 5 ONI habits. When an experience occurs, the chimp team interprets the experience by emotion. So it inputs the emotion into the computer, whilst the human team interprets the experience by facts. So it inputs factual info into the computer. The contents of the computer are described as autopilot, gremlin, and goblin. So there's 3. If you like the content of this episode so far, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments if you have any further questions or opinions related to this topic. Thank you. So there's autopilots, gremlins, and goblins. Autopilots, which I like to call Greater ONI, are helpful or constructive automatic behaviors or beliefs. Gremlins are unhelpful or destructive automatic behaviors or beliefs that can be removed, while goblins are extremely resistant to being removed. Both of these combined, I like to call Lesser ONI. For example, a belief that you can do your best is a Greater ONI belief. Can always learn from any outcome is also a Greater ONI belief. Are not as good as everybody else can be a Lesser ONI belief. Better than others can also be a Lesser ONI belief. Will fail at what you do is an unhelpful Lesser ONI belief. And not a leader could be a very strong Lesser ONI belief. The Greater and Lesser ONI are automatic responses that occur during specific situations. However, you can also create the Stone of Life, or as I coined, ONI principles, which works in all situations. More details of this in a future episode. In order to find out who you, the human you, is, there is one simple exercise we can do. Grab a blank piece of paper, a pen, and write down all the characteristics of the ideal or perfect person that you would like to be. So, for example, you might write, I want to be honest, calm, have a sense of humor, thoughtful, compassionate, innovative, friendly, strong, courageous. Make it as personal as possible. As you come up with who you are, try to be aware of the chimp and the computer from interfering with who you want to be. If the chimp starts hijacking you through this exercise, you can just ask yourself, do I want something? For example, do I want to feel like this? Do I want to take this action? If the answer is no, then it's the chimp's doing, so you can just recognize it as such so that you can write something else down. If you want a more holistic overview of the kind of person you want to become, you can try the 5 areas of life assessment sheet, which is a free PDF, and you can get it from ONILIFE episode 7. Once you've spent some time contemplating who you really are, it's time to move over to the final assessment. Here at ONILIFE, it's all about creating actual changes to your life. This means action. I've created for you a free PDF sheet to list out your Greater and Lesser ONI beliefs. Your goal is to spend 80% of your waking hours doing the Greater ONI actions. But make sure to start small and make incremental progress over time, as life is a marathon and not a sprint. I hope this episode has helped you better understand your mind's processes behind how it makes its decisions and help better equip you in dealing with our daily challenges. Thank you for watching the video until the end, and I'll be looking forward to sharing more insights on the mind in next week's episode. Don't forget to give the exercise a try and let me know how it goes. Alright, hope you have a great week. Peace out.